What's up everyone, it's Kelly and today I've got another swatch review for you. Today we're talking about the latest from Zoya for spring 2025. We have their Naturel 6 collection. Now if you aren't familiar with Zoya, they are a mainstream salon brand and all of their polishes are 10 free, meaning they are free of 10 of the potentially harmful ingredients that can be found in nail polish. They are vegan, meaning they do not use any animal-derived ingredients, and they're also cruelty free, meaning they do not test their products on animals. And their Naturel line is one that they've been doing for a really long time. I actually didn't realize that we've gone up to 6 now, but it's basically their line of more neutral leaning colors, especially the more beige tones with a little bit of like a rosiness to them. I think they actually started doing Naturel back when I was blogging instead of making YouTube videos, but I do have all of them except for Naturel 5. I don't know how I missed that one, but it did come out in 2022. But I do love this line of polishes that they do. I always love their neutrals. They're some of my favorites in my collection. And this one's really interesting because this one is a sparkly version. So all of the polishes actually have a sort of bigger iridescent shimmer in them. And we have the collection kind of split. So 3 of them are the more beige to brown tones, and then 3 of them are more pinky tones. And I have a lot of thoughts on these. For whatever reason, this type of iridescent shimmer in more opaque polishes has been giving me a very hard time. Honestly, I can't think of a time where I enjoyed them unless they had a more jelly-like finish. Most recently, I talked about it in my OPI Spring 2025 video, just that these types of finishes always tend to look patchy and kind of lumpy. So I was curious to see how this would go, and I have a lot of thoughts on it. So let me just dive into the swatches, then we can talk a little bit more about my thoughts on them, pricing, availability, all that good stuff. So roll the swatch footage. As usual, just using base coat underneath all of my swatches just to protect my natural nail and prevent any stains. Today, also as usual, it's the Orly Bonder base. So I'm going to start off with the more neutral leaning tones. This first one is called Scotti, and it is a very soft beige base that has a lot of iridescent teeny tiny flakies running throughout, mostly in that yellowish pinkish kind of color scheme, but in such a light color they do tend to look a little bit less colorful, so a little bit more of that silvery glass fleck kind of look. And I feel like immediately you can see what my problem is with this type of formula. Here in 2 coats, it's such a beautiful color, but it is just so patchy. It just feels like some areas of the nail are always missed no matter how many times you go over it, and it just ends up taking a lot to look good. So here it is in 3 coats, and I feel like even then, as I move my nail around, I can see some patchy areas, especially up in my cuticle area. So not a huge fan. I love the color, but it just doesn't seem to be working on me. Maybe if I did 1 coat over a beige base color. And then we have the shade Dulcie, and this one is a more medium light brown color. It actually leans a little bit cooler toned, but on me I did find that it looked a little bit warmer, and I do have a pretty warm undertone, so sometimes that can affect the swatch. But this one I actually did end up enjoying. It has a more jelly-like formula to it. It has those really beautiful little flakies in there, and I feel like you can see the colors better because it's a darker base color, and it ended up giving me really stunning coverage in 2 coats. It actually reminds me of a more subtle version of the Holo Taco Solo Mission polish that got discontinued, because it does have a little bit of that like salami vibe, but I don't know, in a cute way. And then we have the shade Winslet, which is a more purple leaning color. So again, this one looks pretty cool toned in the bottle, but on me it ended up reading a lot more warm toned. But we have this gorgeous dusty purplish rose color, and again packed with those iridescent flakies that are mostly pink and yellow. And this was another one, I think the combination of having that deeper color plus that slightly more sheer base, less of that milky look, ended up making the formula a lot easier, and it actually gave me full coverage, no visible nail line in 2 coats. So I thought this one was really nice. So getting into the pinkier tones, this one is Nadine, and this one is a deeper dusty pink color, again with those same color iridescent flakies in there. Now this one was for some reason showing up very vibrant on camera, so I did try to color correct. It looks kind of weird when I'm in the process of swatching, but this final look at it is what the color looks like in real life, or at least it matches what my monitor shows. So this was another one that I actually ended up really enjoying. Again, I think it's just that combination of having a deeper base color and also having that slightly more sheer formula that ends up reaching opacity really really nicely. So this was another 2-coater. Moving on, we have the shade Cleo, and this one is a sort of pastel leaning warm pink color. And this one also has the small iridescent flakies in the pink and yellow, but this one has the addition of some bluer toned flakies as well. And this one, honestly, it looked pretty good on camera in 2 coats, but application on this was thick. So it really did still feel pretty patchy. It didn't feel incredible. I ended up applying a 3rd coat because that's how it looked the best in real life, but I just felt like at that point it looked pretty clumpy. So I wasn't a huge fan of this one. Looking at the footage, I feel like it doesn't look as bad as I thought, but I just feel like in person it really wasn't this good. And then the final shade is Avalon, which is our lightest pink, and this one is definitely a more pastel kind of color. Again, we have the addition of the little blue iridescent flakies in there too, and in theory I love this color. I was really hoping that it would give me nice coverage in 2 coats, but again, there was just something about that patchiness you can see, especially on the left side of my nail. It just didn't sit nicely on the nail and it didn't self-level. So as careful as I was with application, I just felt like I couldn't get it right. Even in the 3rd coat, I felt like the cuticle area was looking a little lumpy. So gorgeous color, but I just don't think it applied well enough for me to approve of this polish. So here are all the shades together, and I'm not gonna lie, I do think the color story is stunning here. I know neutrals aren't for everyone. I personally love them. I especially love the more brownish toned ones because I just think that they suit me a little bit better, but I do love when Naturel tends to lean in the more purple and pink range. But yeah, I just think that the lighter shades really missed the mark in this collection because the formula just didn't work well, which I'll talk about more in a little bit. But as a spring collection, I do think the color story works. I appreciate the variety of lighter and darker shades. I do love when they go even darker, but I feel like for this time of year, they probably wanted to keep it more into the medium light range for the more soft, pinky, purpley kind of vibe. So I totally understand that. And I feel like they've really been doing so many Naturel polishes that it's pretty impressive that they're still coming up with neutrals. But anyway, yeah, let's talk about this formula because I have some thoughts. Okay, so those are the polishes, and overall, it's really a mixed bag. I think 3 of them I really enjoyed, and then 3 of them I didn't really enjoy. And I think it really all just came down to that formula. The colors in the bottle are so gorgeous, and I really do want to see this sort of iridescent shimmer formula work, but I think that it's just an awkward size of iridescent. It's kind of somewhere between being a flake and being a shimmer, and it just ends up making the polish look a little bit lumpier. And I noticed that especially in lighter shades. On darker shades, it seems to work a little bit better. So that's why I tended to like those deeper ones a little bit more. But like I said, this is a finish that I've been struggling with, honestly, for as long as I can remember. So I was pleasantly surprised that there were a few that I liked in this collection. But yeah, in general, I think the only way to make this formula work would be if the bases were more jelly-like and less of that sort of milky consistency that you see in Crellies. I think it just needs to be more sheer because otherwise it's just gonna look clumpy. Although, to be fair, I will say, I think it's harder because when you look at it on camera, you can see a lot more issues with it than if you're just looking at your nails in real life. I'm just so used to seeing up close what polishes look like. So if they don't look perfect up close, it makes me less likely to enjoy them, even though nobody's gonna be seeing my nails in HD super close up. So if you don't mind that, I do think the colors are beautiful, but yeah, it's just something I struggle with. So yeah, now let's get into pricing and availability. All these polishes are available on the Zoya website and from their retailers. The polishes come in 15 milliliter bottles, and they do feature a wide flat brush with a rounded tip, so application's really easy, and they retail on the Zoya website for $12 USD each. So I'm gonna link that down in the description. You can check it out if you're interested, but I'm curious to hear your thoughts. What do you think of their Naturel line in general, if you have any? And what do you think of this set? What do you think of this type of finish? Leave it all in the comments. We can chat about it. And if you enjoy my swatch and review videos, please hit that like button. It really helps me out. It lets me know I'm doing a good job. If you're not already subscribed to my channel, I would really appreciate if you could subscribe. I love you all, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye. Today's Would You Rather question is, would you rather be able to breathe fire or breathe underwater? I feel like I've done this one before, or no, I did. I think, would you rather be able to control fire or control water? But my answer is the same. I would rather be able to breathe underwater. I don't see many occasions where it would be useful for me to be able to breathe fire. I feel like it's very easy to just own a barbecue lighter or matches or something whenever I need a fire. I'm not really an outdoorsy person, so there wouldn't be like a scenario where I'm like, oh my gosh, I really need a fire. Whereas I would love to be able to breathe underwater because that would be fun. Although now I live in the desert, so there's not that many opportunities for me to be underwater, but I do have a pool, so that would be kind of cool. But it's a very shallow pool, so I don't know. But yeah, I'm curious to hear your answers, so let me know in the comments. We can chat about it, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye!